Hey everyone, it's Laura here and it's time for another Saturday Stamp Day card video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a watercolored scene using the Mama Elephant Playful Pups stamp set. So I'm starting out with the Audrey Cutaways die cut set from Winnie and Walter, and I'm going to die cut that scalloped panel over there, and it has these little stitched holes in there or stitched dots, and I just really love that little detail. So after die cutting that from some Canson watercolor paper, I'm going to create a watercolored scene. I am using distress inks for this technique. First I'm using Shabby Shutter's Mauve Lawn, and then I'm also going to use two distress markers since I don't have the ink pads of those colors. So I'm using peel paint and pine needles, so I'm just scribbling that down onto my craft sheet. First, I'm going to add some water to the area where I want some color to be. I'm just using my paintbrush for that and some clean or clear water. And then I'm going to start adding the color. So I'm mainly going to add the lightest colors first since I just want a really good base. And I'm using a tiny little bit of color and a lot of water for my first base or my first layer. So I'm just layering those light colors together, and as you can see, I'm adding a tiny little bit of those darker colors, but not too much since I will be adding some darker colors in the second layer. So just like that, and I'm kind of blending that using some water. And then I'm going to heat set the first layer of ink. You can also let that air dry, but I'm just impatient and I want it to let that dry immediately. So I'm going to add a second layer of ink. I am using more color this time and less water. I added a little bit of water on there just that the colors will blend, but I'm not going overboard with the water. So I'm adding more ink and less water this time. So I'm going to heat set that again, and because those edges were a little bit in your face, I wanted to blend them out a little bit or soften them out a little bit, so I just used some water, a very tiny amount of water, and I just kind of faded those edges out a little bit. So now I'm going to create a sky. I am using 3 different colors for that. I'm using tumble glass, peacock feathers, and then also a weathered wood distress marker since I don't have the ink pads from that color. So just like I did for the grass, I'm going to add some water first to get the colors blending, and then I'm adding a little bit of color. So I'm adding a lot of tumbled glass and then a bit of that weathered wood since it has like this grayish tone to it, and then a tiny little bit of peacock feathers at the beginning. I will add more of that color when I'm doing the second layer. So after heat setting that, I added a little bit of water, and I'm going to add that peacock feathers just to have a more of a bright cloud or bright sky. And then I'm going to soften out that color a little bit by using tumbled glass. And then I'm just going to heat set that second layer, and then the watercolor piece is all ready. So I'm using the Playful Pups stamp and die cut set from Mama Elephant in this video. I'm going to use the dog that is holding an envelope. So I'm going to stamp that dog onto some Simon Says Stamp Ultra Heavyweight cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And then I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring. So I'm going to turn some music on while I'm doing the Copic coloring, and then I will be back. Okay, so after I did the Copic coloring, I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle and glitter to this dog. So I used my clear Wink of Stella glitter pen to add some glitter to the little heart, nose, and the color of that dog. I'm also going to use one of my favorite paper pads that I've been loving recently. This is the Sorbet collection by Avriel, and I'm going to use this beautiful polka dot pattern paper. I really love that pink color. I'm going to die cut another panel using the Catherine die cuts from Winnie and Walter this time. Then I'm going to heat set or heat emboss a greeting for this card, and I'm using a sentiment from that Playful Pups stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that on there on some vellum using Versamark ink. And then I'm using my favorite white embossing powder from Wow. This is the super fine opaque bright white embossing powder. So I'm going to heat set that powder, and then as you can see I cut that strip a little bit smaller, and I'm going to adhere that onto that piece using Tombow adhesive. And as you can see, you can't see this adhesive at all with the vellum, so I really love this adhesive with vellum, so it's really great for that. I'm going to adhere that piece onto a wood grain card. This card measures 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch, so it's a little bit smaller than a standard size card. I'm going to let the dog shine a little bit more by adding some glossy accents, and then I'm also going to add some spring flowers from Prepping Posh onto the grass, and I'm adhering that using glossy accents and my EK Success tweezers. So that finishes up the card for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Bye!